love with photography.
Grab your heart, twist it, and take it back out.
Friggin' blew my mind.
Part of the Good Media pitch. We are all excited to get to know two further projects. I would kindly ask all the people in the room to take their place and get the whole attention to those wonderful two projects, which is about memory, recommendation, and family. So it's two really wonderful projects. I hope you like the pictures as much as we did before. And now I would leave the stage to Valentin Thurn, who's hosting the first pitch, and leaving the mic to you.
Thanks a lot. I welcome to the stage Julia Charakter und Jonas Eckhardt. Sorry. Please, have a seat. Yeah, I think before we start talking, let's roll the trailer and then we know everybody knows what's it about.
Die Pietisten schreiben sich ja riesengroß auf die Fahne, die Nächstenliebe. Ich frage mich, wo da die Nächstenliebe angefangen hat und wo sie aufgehört hat.
Dieses Kinderheim war für Außenstehende ein Paradies.
Statt der Gute-Nacht-Geschichte haben wir unsere Prügel gekriegt.
Wir hatten Angst. Wir hatten ständig Angst, ob das tags war, ob das in der Nacht war. Das war ein Gefängnis und eine Hölle.
Man kann das nicht abschließen.
Da habe ich dann gesagt, entweder ich trete jetzt ab vor dieser Welt oder ich gehe in die Öffentlichkeit.
Korntal hat ja nicht mit der Entlassung aufgehört, sondern Korntal ist nach Korntal weitergegangen. Und viele von denen, die sich umgebracht haben, haben sich ja nach Korntal umgebracht.
Betroffene haben alle eine Stimme. Menschen mit Gewalterfahrung haben Stimmen, nur sie werden nicht gehört.
Maybe let's start. You're the film team. What have been your roles? Can you
introduce myself? My name is Julia Charakter. I'm the director of the Children of Korntal, and since we started the Impact campaign already, also the Impact producer now.
My name is Jonas Eckert. I'm the cinematographer of the movie, and we also did the editing of the movie together.
What I like a lot is that it's not so scary as the topic could have been. I mean, what is the main topic of the film? We've seen the trailer, but the film is going in a different path.
Well, in short, the film basically tells the story of a small town in the south of Germany, Korntal, where you could say one of the biggest abuse scandals in the Protestant church in Germany took place. And around 150 former children of an orphanage, which was run by the Pietist Brotherhood, came forward around 10 years ago to tell their stories. And the film portrays 6 of them, but also shows how the small community deals with the survivors today, and also shows that the survivors are still fighting to be heard, basically. We started shooting in 2019, and we had premiere. We came out basically last year at the Doc Leipzig.
Quite a long time. Well, there was the pandemic in between, as everybody knows. What was your motivation to do this film?
As a filmmaker, we have a strong sense for justice, and when we saw this injustice, this was actually basically the start of the story, because when the survivors were children, they were innocent, they didn't have a home, they didn't have parents, and so what they actually needed in those orphanages would be love, but they got the opposite, even worse. Still, they're dealing with really problems related to the sexual violence they experienced in their childhood. So it was like the starting point of their life, but since now the survivor came forward and told what happened to them, they didn't welcomed at this community, and also not from the organization. They really had to fight to be heard, and also to fight for meeting at the eye level. And they called actually the inquiry method the abuse after the abuse, and we really wanted to tell the story and say that it's still somehow happening, even though it's a long time ago that they experienced this.
And why did you want to make this impact campaign?
Like I said, it's like they're really fighting to be heard, and one of the sentences also in the trailer is the beginning of the film, when a protagonist say, we have a voice, we just need to be heard, and we wanted to give them the space. Since the movie is already in the cinemas, we already started a few months ago the impact campaign, first with social media, with quotes like this, also to show their needs and their demands, and also to address the key problems regarding the inquiry and stuff like that. And we just come from the cinema tour, actually. It's still in the cinemas, but on almost all stops we had the protagonists, like the survivors, present at the screenings, and they answered questions, and we really want to involve them because they are the experts on the field through their experience, what they went through.
Also, you mentioned it, it's maybe the only project among our 6 projects that already had cinema release, but it's like 10 days ago. So you already experienced how the audience is reacting. What do you think, or what was your experience? What's the strength of this film?
I think, first of all, the strength of the film is maybe it helps to understand these mechanisms of abuse, also here sexual violence, and of course these mechanisms, maybe they're at their core, very often they're the same, right? If it's it doesn't matter if it's in the south of Germany or in the north of Germany. Doesn't matter if it's in a sports club or in a religious community, or in the family, it's the same. That's why also we decided for one hashtag that we use in the impact campaign that says Korntal is everywhere. So we want to raise this awareness that this can happen everywhere, right? And on the other hand, the film also shows how the lives of the affected, how they are influenced by such experiences. And what they need for an inquiry process, for recovery process, especially something that they can articulate, because as Julia said, they are the experts. They should be really be heard and should say what is needed in such a process. So I think the film, on one hand, it sensitizes the audience for this topic, but also it raises awareness for the issue as a whole, and I think as we experienced already through the tour, that it can be a valuable tool for prevention work, I would say.
Yeah, you targeted on a concrete case. I mean, we had in the last years many cases of abuse in the Catholic Church, but this now is the Pietist Brotherhood is a part of the evangelical movement, let's say. It's also part of the church, I think.
A Protestant, yeah.
Protestant church, okay. What are your impact goals if you go on now?
Through the cinema tour, we have achieved already a few goals, which we are very happy about. First of all, the Protestant Church and also the Diaconie, they reached out, and we are in a collaboration with them. Means they want to show the movie next year at their annual conference in Hanover, which is a big thing, I think. And also they want to show the movie for prevention work and also at the universities for educational purposes. The same goes for quite a few counseling centers. They also want to show the movie for prevention work. Then there's one other goal that we have where we feel it really could make a big impact. We want to do a screening in Korntal itself, because we have seen how big the interest is in that region, in Baden-Württemberg, and Korntal doesn't have a cinema. And the Brotherhood also, so far, they have not yet decided to show the film on their premises, so we want to do a screening there.
Why didn't it work out so far?
It was a little bit complicated story. I think we thought like it's a chance for them too, but it's difficult, of course, because it's clear like who dealt, because their narrative was that they did a good inquiry, that they're very nice to the survivors, but the survivors in the film testimonial that it's not that case. So it's still a very emotional thing in that kind of little town. Still is, but I see on the screenings a lot of people from Korntal were there, and they really want also to know it's not only that the survivors are rejected in this region. No, they really want to know what happened there.
Yeah, I've been following a little bit your cinema tour on Facebook, and obviously it's the region around Stuttgart that has been, I mean, even cinemas that never show art house films or any political stuff. I mean, in this region the interest was huge. But that's also, let me say, that's maybe also a chance to, there's still other regions to conquer. So you spoke about your goals. How, to whom do you want to reach out to reach these goals?
I mean, the thing is, the key issues are still not solved. Like, for example, a transparent and fair inquiry method, or even the statute of limitation. We have a lot of goals that still need to be reached. Like we're already in the impact train, but still some survivors who come to the screening say to us they didn't met on an eye level, and that would be the overall goal, that the rights of the survivors will be strengthened. So we think about further like cooperation partners where we can show it also in the field where like people who worked in these institutions taught, like pedagogical institutions, also counseling, and also we are in contact with some who work with the survivors and strengthen their right, and they say already this movie make clear what the key problems are. And still, of course, there's a long way to go, and one of our goals is also, it is a heavy topic, but activate also the audiences, because a lot of emotion can also lead to become activists for the rights of the survivors. So we're working, currently we're planning to do a homepage where all the petitions which are there, for example, also there are measurements, problems like in the field that the Fonds Sexueller Missbrauch also have issues, maybe they get less money and things like that, where you can actually sign those petitions and also address the statute of limitation, because we're, if you go further with the campaign, we use the hashtag sexual violence is actually torture, in the sense most of the victims, they need 20 to 30 years to go forward to speak what happened to them. But at this case, it's not legally possible to go behind the perpetrators when you want to sue them or to go in court. So one of the goals of our impact campaign is also to lift the statute, but not only in Germany, not on a federal level, but also in an international level. Yeah, for that we need support, of course.
At this moment, it's expiring at like after 20 years, you cannot...
Now 30 years, but it's a little bit complicated for those who have it now. It's 30 years before who experienced it in the 60s, 70s, it's like, was 20 years. It's a little bit complicated right now, but still there is a statute of limitation.
So which are the partners you have already on board, and what are the partners you can imagine that you were looking for?
We were super surprised that actually Diakonie and the Protestant Church is promoting the film. They were also part of the cinema tour and talking to the audience. We also have partners who work in counseling for survivors of sexual violence, girls and boys, and also from the homes, from the orphanages. But still we need support in many sense, like for example, people who work in the law on the federal level. We want to make contact with Kerstin Klaus, UBSKM. Already Matthias Katsch was moderating our Berlin premiere, but we would like to go further and thinking about doing maybe take parts of the movie and go further and make, for example, a podcast. So we need also support from press or from people who want to accompany us in our campaign. And of course, who have legal contacts to people who are working human rights, laws, and looking into that, how this can be changed is also one of our goals.
And before I open to the public, there's one more question. You told me that you had, as a security backup, some counseling available during your shootings. Did this person had a lot to do, or how did it work out?
I mean, we worked with traumatized people, so we wanted to make sure that they have a possibility to speak to someone after our interviews, but most of the people we worked with, they already had trauma therapists who they worked for very long with. So for our protagonists, they didn't need it, but we also, during the cinema tour, make sure that somebody is there. So we had partners who the audience could go to, because every time we screened, there were also other survivors from other contactors or even from Korntal, we didn't know. But the feedback what we got most of the time, and we really made sure by editing it, it's super heavy topic, that we don't want to traumatize our audience. So we really put out the details so you can watch it and you can be empathic. But I think you can go also to the cinema and watch it even without having problems going out of it. So you were there.
Yeah, so. I can reaffirm that it's really not the type of film that is. It's making hope even. It's the most stunning thing that you are able to make hope. But now I'm opening. So anybody has a question to both of them? I think there is a microphone somewhere wandering around. Should be at least, yeah. Coming.
I was just wondering, hi, I'm Britta, I'm one of the producers, we already met. Did I miss it, or did you say that your protagonist would talk about the film in public as well during the Impact campaign?
Yeah, we had them on the screenings, regular screenings. I think we had, 15 stops, and most of them were there. Sometimes 3 of them, sometimes 1 of them. And that's super beneficial for the audience and also for the protagonists, because they got so much feedback, positive feedback. And in the last screening we had in Böblingen, little town, there were a lot of from Korntal in the audience, and they could share kind of a story. So they shared the stories, like somebody stood up and said, I know about the homes, but I didn't know what happened there. And then they were sharing about a little sweet store where everybody went. So also our survivors went there, and also from Korntal. So we have this hope and vision also to show the movie really where the abuse took place, but it's a little bit difficult because some of the older Korntaler is dealing with denial also, actually our film shows also how to deal with guilt. So it's not so easy, but we don't force, of course, anyone to join the screening. Yeah.
In general, because not only joining the screenings, but I guess always in this position it helps, like the more people stand up, then you stand up as well, right? So it always forms kind of like a movement So if you're lucky and can keep them for your campaign, I think that would be great.
Yeah, they're very happy to join, actually. Yeah, they really enjoy this experience. Also, when we came out 1 year ago on the Cologne Film Festival, standing on the red carpet, and they got picked up by a Tesla, they still have these memories of this glamorous film where they never thought they would experience. So it was super sweet also to share.
Yeah, and also maybe one thing, I would like to add is one of the protagonists, Detlef Zander, he's so active in that field that it's unbelievable. You come out of the cinema and he has already posted how many photos and what do I know. He's really amazing.
Press expert already,
so strong and always on the forefront.
Some
inspiring.
of them became something like activists also on the field, I would say now.
It's really good to hear. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Gudula Meinzert. I'm producer and impact producer in Switzerland. Well, I'm German. And we are just in the post-production of a film about transgenerational dramas by placed persons in Switzerland, in partly Verdienkinde, but also others who were placed in administration, in homes and so on. And also, it's very important for the protagonists to speak out, especially also because they understood that they don't want to transfer their traumas to the next or the next generations. Is it also a theme in your film, let's say, to the motivation why they speak out?
Yeah, some of the protagonists actually say they don't want that somebody has to do have the same experience like they had in the homes. But of course, we also speak about this topic a lot, like in the Q&A after the film, because some of them are not able to have relationships, for example. Even though they have children, they don't have the sense of family because they never learn how it works. Others do the complete opposite. Like they want that their children have the best life they can give them. So it's a super interesting question. Also, we would normally give it to the protagonists. They could say better than we do now. Yeah, but it's not like main topic of the movie, but that's a question that regularly will be asked in the Q&As. Yeah, sure.
Okay, any other question? Okay, so if there is, there's one behind.
Hi, since this is a Germany, based topic, I was just wondering if you look at this as a localized issue, or if this is sort of a way to look at a more systemic problem throughout the country or throughout, let's say, other European countries.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, it's not a local issue. It is a global issue, I would say, and we address it actually we show this on the example of this little town. But for example, a lot of people who experience abuse in the family, they came and said it's the same way of abuse of power. It's the same system. When the victim comes forward, it is blamed. Like, this is a regular thing what happens. So I think it's not only about Korntal and a little South German town. It can be transferred also and looked at globally how abuse and sexual violence worked in its general, and also later how to deal, for example, for this little community with the guilt that something like that happened. A lot of audiences referred actually to the Second World War scheme, where they used to say, let's look forward, don't look back and stuff like that. But it's not possible. You have to really look clearly what happened there to go forward. Yeah, so I would say, even though the movie just were shown in Germany, I wouldn't say it's just a German topic in general. unfortunately.
Thought of going beyond Germany with this film, with a translated version?
We have subtitles. We're really open to show the movie on other festivals or in other. We don't have a world sale, so if you have a tip for us or you know somebody, we can provide you with a trailer with subtitles. Of course, we have everything you need for that.
Okay. Anybody else? So, if not, I would thank you very much. If you want to say anything for a conclusion or to wrap up things, what do you hope for the next months to come?
I think it will, it's the impact campaign, even though it started, I think it will continue, and I'm very hopeful that because this topic arises so often in the last years or even months and weeks, so I think this movie can be very beneficial also for those who want to change the system, who won't look to it. And we were super surprised that even the Protestant Church want to show the movie on their prevention training. So I think it can be a great beneficial value to look into the system, how abuse is taking place. Yeah.
Yeah. The best thing is really how the persons cope with it, and this is really giving. I mean, it's really something that I admired. And you need subtitles anyway for most of Germany because they speak in heavy dialect. Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I would like to welcome the team of the last pitch for today, The Family Approach. Daniel Abma, Britta Strampe, and Lisa Nawrocki. Please come to me on stage. Would you like to say a few words? Who are you and what is your part of the creative process of the film?
Sure, shall I start? I'm Lisa. I started as a production assistant at Bandenfilm, and now I'm a first-time impact producer. Yay!
I'm Britta. I'm one of the two producers of the film, and with our company Bandenfilm. And we started this journey, I think, in 2019, 2020, when I was pregnant the first time.
My name is Daniel Abma. I'm the director of the film. I started 2 years earlier with the very first research. I will tell more about it after the trailer.
Let's see the trailer and then we dive a bit into the story.
Hallo. Hallo Mama.
Wir sind ja nicht die Ersatzeltern oder so, aber wir sind ja, dieses familiäre Konstrukt sind wir ja doch irgendwie, ne? Also ergänzend dann quasi.
Ich bin Erzieher.
Oft ist es ja so, dass nicht die Kinder das Problem sind, sondern die Eltern. Die zu Hause irgendwie nicht gewuppt kriegen, die ganze Sache, oder überfordert sind.
Wann kannst du wieder kommen? Diesen Monat nein, nächsten Monat auch. Ich habe keine Zeit. Tschüss. Tschüss, hab dich lieb.
Wie ist die Schlafen?
Gut. Und Sie?
Ging so.
Was ist der große Wunsch? Ja, dass ich dann irgendwann dann mal zu Mama oder zu Papa komme im Sommer. Wie würden Sie sich das wünschen?
Das ist eine gute Frage.
Dann ist es traurig, wenn das Kind jede Nacht hier wach wird und schreit nach Mama und halt nicht weiß, was los ist.
Mensch, ich will los, kapiert ihr das? Hört doch mal auf, Hilfsbetreuer zu spielen.
Er ist ganz schnell wütend. Der weiß nicht, wer er ist, er weiß nicht, wo er herkommt, er weiß nicht, wo er hingehört.
Der Tag ist einfach nur scheiße.
Ja, aber der Tag ist ja noch nicht um.
Happy Birthday!
Smile, smile. Einfach dieses soziale Zusammenleben und durchs Vorleben und auch erklären, denen zu zeigen, wie es funktionieren kann.
Du wirst das schon hinkriegen. Da kann man halt nur die Kinder da rausholen und dann zeigen, dass es im Leben besser geht, sodass die ihren Kindern besser beibringen. Und das ist die Hoffnung dabei.
all the three of us. Super.
Daniel, can you tell us more about the story that we will see in your film?
Yeah, in the family approach, we dive into the German child and youth care system by showing one example of a residential group in a rural area, not in a big city, where children are living between 8 and 14 years who cannot live at their parents anymore because the youth welfare office took them out of the biological families.
And how did you meet your protagonist? What was the moment that you said that I want to make the film?
Well, maybe I can refer to the first pitch from today, Sister Queen. There was this beautiful trailer in which the young women and girls said, like, they told what they wanted to be when they were grown up, right? And I was thinking, what was my wish? What did I dream about? And I dreamed about being a teacher, becoming a teacher. And I went totally into it. I studied social work, I studied educational pedagogical studies, and I got my diploma and I was 23 years old, but I somehow couldn't do the job. I was afraid. I realized when I got the diploma that it is all about responsibility, a huge responsibility, and I was getting aware that I can't do this job. I'm not yet ready for it. And ever since then, I realized everybody who is working in this field of education, of social work, educating, is having my deep respect for what they are doing. And that was the first impulse on focusing on these social topics. And then I read an article in a newspaper, and it was written, the big are failing to look after the small. And the article described that the German system of the child and youth care system is maybe not about to collapse, but there is a huge lack of people working there. And the numbers are not getting smaller. It is like, who will do the job in a couple of years? So it made me realize, like, and then it was when Britta also entered, like, let's make a film with a positive approach to show the very emotional and hard job they do, but to show them and to give it a good vibe and energy that, maybe if everything goes well, more people will start to work in this field.
We will follow up on that very soon, but I wanted to make a step back because we know caregivers as it relates for us with the kindergarten or teachers. Can you tell us more about actually what their work is? Because it's not the 9 till 5 work. What it comes with, the responsibility that you mentioned.
I give a start and you take over? Actually, they work in 24-hour shifts. They live there. During the corona pandemic, they lived there for 2 weeks without seeing their own families, the educators. Like, it is, if somebody is sick, they work 48 hours after each other. It is like insane what they are doing, and they do it with so much love, and they are perfect. They are like a miracle to me. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's not only like going, like, for sure, like the school, homework, food, cooking, washing, like not only just, but yeah, watching movies together. What is it called? Trösten, cuddling, comforting, all those kind of things. For sure, it's about like creating a family atmosphere. They would always say, like, they don't see themselves as substitute parents, but they for sure work in a kind of like a family network. And I think that's the approach of the educators who work there. And even I think it would always be so easy to talk in a critical way, a negative way about the whole system and the structure. But for us, it was actually really important to embrace what they are doing, because they are not like, they try within the lack of professionals and the lack of money and everything, they try to do the best and always stand with the children. I think that's the important part we wanted to empower always. Yeah, because those children really need somebody who's looking after them, because they are not so lucky growing up within their own families. And I think that's the idea of the whole film. That's also why we choose the German title and the English title, because we want kind of like go to a different understanding of family outside the core family, because like talking about people who raise their children but themselves, patchwork families. So I think we should be here by the time of now to talk about kids who grow up in residential rooms as families. Without, discriminating the original family for sure, because they are all kind of like a big network.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. There was like one sentence, but I think it was in the film, not sure if in the trailer, that one of the protagonists says, we are here to show them this everyday life, that how it can look like, how it should look like. Yes, so it's this very simple thing that we know may be so difficult for them, and they are providing it for the children. A lot of responsibility. I think a lot of empathy and needed to such a work, and emotional engagement, because they are dealing with the kids that need the support also emotionally very much, as we see also in the trailer. You touched upon that a bit already. What was the moment you said, okay, like we need to do something, we need to start an impact campaign?
Well, I can only speak from a personal perspective, because like I hate people who always say like, oh, and I'm a mother. But I need to stress this here because it's really kind of like my personal connection, because my daughter went to daycare when she was 8 months old. I started to get there. She didn't stay there the whole day, just to make sure, only for a few hours, because I'm a independent producer, you know the reality. And I was thinking like, okay, I'm talking with Daniel about this project, and I'm handling my girl every day to somebody who I don't really know. And then I thought like, for sure, how would it feel with parents who give their children to people they don't really know? And I think it's so important to actually look at the perspective of the parents, who so often are not, like they are not the bad ones only, they are not the guilty ones. There are reasons why the children are living there, and on the other hand as well, always thinking, wow, these children, also like our children do in daycare, do such a great job living there without their mom and dad kind of thing. I think it's like empowering both perspectives is very important. So that was my personal approach.
Maybe I can add that when I got into contact with the educators, there was this huge need of telling their story, of showing what they do. They don't have interest, other people don't have interest in what they're doing. And if in Germany you talk about the job of Erzieherin, educator, everybody thinks about kitas, about the young, kindergarten. Nobody is thinking about this. And there are the statistics. I don't have the numbers at the moment, I'm sorry.
I will be there for that one. I will come back.
Okay, you go and do that. Perfect. The statistics show something incredibly. So
we can ask maybe, does anyone of you knew this kind of Erzieher and caregivers?
Yeah, over there, someone. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's very significant, yes, because this is exactly, yes. And
but the question is, are you aware that there's such a big lack of educators? Because if I'm speaking numbers right now, we looked it up. In 2023, there were like 820,000 educators, but like overall educators, speaking of kitas, and 10% of them work in residential homes. So it's 83,000 caregivers in residential homes like these ones we are portraying. And there's like that they are mentioned in 2022 of 500,000 skilled workers. So they are in desperate need for people. And this is where we come in as the impact campaign. I think this is something we can support. Yeah.
Would you follow up on that? Like, what would be your main goals, that you would like to achieve with Impact Campaign for this film?
So there are several goals, and maybe two sides. Because of the one side, you mentioned it, we have the family turn. We want to discuss this one. Family can look and feel so different, and the people who have an impact on ourselves and our journey and how we grow up can be so individual. And it can be can be a term of family, but can also be someone else. So we have this care leaver. Question to you, audience. Do you know the term care leaver? Can you raise your hand? Yeah, it's not that many people. And also, this is impact, right? So I as well learned the term care leaver, and as this one is also used in Germany. Before we were saying Heimkind, but this term is very stigmatized. And we can support the initiatives that are trying to implement the term care leaver for people who were living and growing up in residential cares like this, and are leaving and then living by themselves or going back into their families. So the term is care leaver. So this can be one thing. And in German as well, you say care leaver and care leaverin. They are starting to use this term as well in Germany. Yeah, which I support. I think it's a good thing to do. And on the other hand, we have the caregivers, the people who work here, and where we have this huge lack. So we want to, of course, screen this film, show this film, want to have an audience, but of course we want to show and appreciate the people who work this every day, because they are daily heroes, and they are like systematically relevant. So we would love to have screenings, show the film, have a discussion with caregivers, care leavers, have a visibility in the media, in the press, because we feel like this is top 2 of the people we need, like in Fachkräftemangel, skilled people need. So it's right after social workers, so it's place number 2. So it's really important for our social system to work. And I feel like not many people know about this one.
And also, I think it starts continuing, they're actually making the job
attractive. So it's important for us. We already reached out to a couple of institutions who educate educators. So that would be a goal of us, and also to get there very early with teaching screenings, like using educational kits in the classroom. So also getting an idea about how children grow up outside their own family, but also making this attractive. So somebody tells, I want to become an educator. And I don't know how you feel, but I'm so very often struggling with my job. I'm always questioning myself, does that really make sense what I'm doing? So at the end, I think I might just become an educator when I quit film business, maybe one day, but not happening yet. But just take it as a serious alternative.
And this film can be used, like we are already in conversations with organizations who organize job fairs, so to raise awareness for this profession and get people interested in this job, and then to also use our film and our caregivers in training, so for people who want to become a caregiver. So, and we have some good news, I think, we can share, because our film is now finished, and it will premiere in a bit at Doc Leipzig. And yes, we're very happy. And so we have festivals coming up, and then we will show the film in cinemas in summer next year, and then we will show it in TV in 2026 in RBB Arte.
2026 probably with RBB Arte.
The regional broadcaster is connected. Yeah.
And the on-top good news in Doc Leipzig is that this film is also in the school classes program, so they are starting to make an educational kit, which we can also use afterwards. Yeah.
Yes, this is also what we are talking about, that they want to be seen. Yes, so it would be also like a great possibility to bring them, to show them. It would be also think about the press and journalists who could raise this topic. And what kind of whom would you like to reach out to? In order to bring the project to the partners you want to partner with.
So first of all, you have this amazing program booklet. Here's a long list of people and institutions we're interested in. First of all, caregivers and care leavers who want to share their story, of course. So come to us if you want to have a conversation and visibility through our impact campaign. And of course, institution partners, NGOs who can make our dream happening, or we can work together, because we are the storytellers. We have an emotional film, and maybe we can work together. We already have some ideas. Maybe you have some. Maybe we can just cooperate in so many ways. Journalists, press, if you want to write about it, that would help us enormously. So I think these three I want to mention especially.
And do you have any particular organizations in mind so that we could also like imagine, you know, like what kind of partners do you look for?
Well, the worker unions for sure are interesting to us. Gladly, they do have like a Verdi connected award in Leipzig at the festival. So I hope there might be somebody to talk to just in general about the cooperation. Then also for sure like the teachers' working unions are interesting to us. Then we are interested in talking to people who care about children's rights, I would say, because at the end it's about giving the perspective to children who grow up in residential cares. And I guess also from the political perspective, because like if you talk to people working in the field from the child and youth care, they say like, well, the politicians, they are aware of the problem. Like for sure, they're not stupid. But I think that especially youth welfare officers have such a negative image. So they might be interested in having a game changer as well and actually understanding what their work is about. And we work with some fantastic youth welfare office people who really, well, we're a little bit hard to get, but then at the end so supportive with the film because they have a true interest in making these families work as well, because that is what kind of like the scene of the trailer, spoiler alert, but at the end for sure it's almost like a family, but it's always for a limited time. So I think like this kind of very verletzbare construct, vulnerable, is very important, and that is kind of like they're all dealing with this really fragile family bubble, right? So I think that would be people, so if you know anybody from the political side or youth welfare officers, that would be really interesting for us. And for sure, like any journalist who would like to write about it, come to us. And maybe we are looking for a prominent influencer as a care leaver. That would be like the Toni Kroos of the residential care, maybe.
Yes, I think what's very powerful about your film is that you really managed to give a big importance to the caregiver. Yes, because of course, well, the stories of the children are dramatic. Yes, I'm also a mother, so like every time I see the trailer or I've seen the film, it makes me very emotional. But it's really like with a big respect and with their ups and downs that you managed to portray to make them really like protagonists that are on important as the kids. So thank you for that. I would open the questions to public. Are there any questions?
In the previous project, we were talking about all the problems that may arise, or sexual abuse and so on in homes. Was this, and now it's everything positive and wonderful, and the caregivers with their children and so on, but there's also, right now, there might be some problems, let's say, or some discussions going on, and so how do you or will you deal with those issues or debates? Is this something important for you, let's say, or how do you position your film regarding those problems we heard about or we know? Just to know, because it's wonderful profession and go and do it and so on, but there are also problems because there are not so many people, so you have to work much more than you maybe should, and so on. So how you deal with those issues, I would be interested.
I think it's important to discuss, and maybe we haven't mentioned before the Deutsche Kinder- und Jugendhilfetag, like a congress where people who work in this field come together, and I feel like the film can be a good basis to get into conversation and talk about also difficult topics, right?
I think it's always easier to talk about the negative perspective than about the positive. But for sure, like you cannot be ignorant. Maybe you can be positive and optimistic, which might feel a little bit ignorant or naive sometimes. But I think it's really important for us to support the people who are the good ones. We had the good media pitch, aren't we? Because, yeah, I think for sure we will stress this out. And when we show the film, the whole, like, you just got the trailer impression, which for sure is there to sell the film. But within the film, not everything is going well. For sure, they suffer from the structural problems, the lack of money, the lack of professionalists in the field. So that is all topic within the film as well. But at the end, I think, yeah, we really like, and we always say that as well, this is a very positive example how it can be. Let's all dream together. It's not the usual residential care home maybe, but this is how it could be. I think that's important to stress out. Yeah.
And I think we, how to say, we show, we don't focus on the problems, but they are there all the time. Like the youth welfare office appointment that takes place twice a year only, which is so important. It doesn't take place because there is lack of capacity. But it is not the topic, it is said in one sentence. And so we can make a discussion about it later on when we are presenting the film and having a discussion with the audience. Yeah.
So if there are no other questions or comments?
Short, because we also, there are a lot of like psychology or family newspapers, like real magazines. That's actually a perfect featuring for your film. Since you come out in Leipzig, maybe you can send some press release, kind of some pictures from the film, because I think that's the perfect, I don't know, article. So I have even one contact I would share with you later.
Thank you so much. To add on that, I said that in the first pitch also parents education.
Exactly, I wanted to
podcasts.
I wanted to refer to that as well. Yes.
Actually, I showed the film, like the children, of course, very vulnerable, and we showed them during the editing process the film sometimes. And last weekend, I showed to one of the guys, Niklas, the last 2 scenes that we changed after he saw the film. And we had a meeting, and I just spent 3 hours with him in Berlin. It was amazing, and he is now 16 years old almost. He has now a voice like this. So time is changing and passing. And after those 3 hours, he loved the scenes. He's totally proud of the trailer as well. After those 3 hours, when I put him on the train again, I was like exhausted. And I wrote a message to Antje, Frau Wagner, one of the educators in the film. And I told her, Antje, how are you doing this? This was just one child for 3 hours, and I'm exhausted. And she called me back immediately laughing. And I was like, okay, Daria, this is exactly, yeah, we have it in our genes. It was so cute. Yeah.
Yes, and it's amazing that you want to give them the voice, simply. Thank you so much, and good luck in Leipzig, and we hope we can, support you somehow on this way.
Come to us and watch the film. Maybe you want to become a caregiver yourself.
Maybe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for this wonderful 6th pitch. I think we got lots of inspiration today, don't we? Didn't we?
I think so. I mean, the other 2 projects are still in their roundtables. They're still discussing. So I hope that happens to the children of Korntal and family approach as well. We're really, I think, excited. What an amazing audience we had today. Very engaged.
How many people joined for the first edition?
Yes.
Very thankful for that, for all of you in the audience. It makes a difference that you're here. And maybe if you have, in the next few days, an epiphany to whom to connect those wonderful storytellers, don't be afraid, just write us. We will happily forward you to them. It would be most wonderful if there comes in more and more ideas through that. Yeah. And I think for now we are looking forward to tomorrow for our last Industry Day, where you're all very much invited. We have some super exciting sessions, amongst them a workshop on burnout prevention, because I think all storytellers from all directions know that feeling of the hardship of the story you have to tell. So that's very interesting. We are going to talk about transnational storytelling. Now Marta left the stage, but I think Crew United is hosting the breakfast in the morning, and there's going to be lots of networking opportunities, so please join us. If you don't know what you are doing tonight, here are 3 film recommendations. So here in the Festival Center, we are going to talk about censorship versus freedom, and showing the fantastic film of Caravan and the Dogs by Askold Kurov, and presenting the films Beyond Molotovs about creative strategies to counter authoritarian regimes. Then we have the wonderful Ramona Diaz in Berlin, just for tonight. She flew in and she has a fantastic film. And so it begins about the Philippines, and you might think, why should I watch a film about democratic values in the Philippines? But in the film and in her previous films, she features Maria Ressa, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, quite a lot, and she put it very much to the point, because they test those strategies that they're using now here in countries like the Philippines, and the Philippines in particular. So we have to look there very closely and carefully and learn how they counter them, how they combat them, and what they are trying to do. And the third one may be something really positive and empowering, at least it was for me, the experience. And it was fun and it was weird. Was Space Factory, about how we create living areas so that we can maybe at some point go to another planet and stay there for a bit. So that's lots of fun. I can recommend that, because documentaries, as we have seen today, can be everything and also fun.
And I just want to say quickly for today, because this is so new in Germany, and a lot of organizations who've made the step to come here, who've never worked with a documentary filmmaker before, thank you so much for trusting us to come here. I hope it was fruitful for you as well. Some of you haven't been at the round table yet, but I hope it will then be fruitful. Yeah, just spread the word. We really like to work together, and we don't really have otherwise a platform or conference or anything where we can mingle the filmmakers with the NGOs, with the foundations, with the lawyers, activists, and so on. So I think we need it. I think it showed it today that we do, because the room was really full. So I'm really thankful for that, and spread the word.
And we hope to see you back next year with new exciting projects, even more people joining us for the idea. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful afternoon. The sun is shining, and in the evening the cinema is shining.
Thank you.